During the week, we are so busy, so once it's the weekend, it is definitely time to connect as a family. Join me as I do some homemaking and reset our home and our kitchen and get some homemade, delicious, realistic meals ready and prepped for the week that are very easy to make, and I know that you'll absolutely enjoy. During the week, we are so busy with work and school and just the everyday hustle and bustle. So during the weekend, we like to reset as a family, reconnect, and just do something together that's a lot of fun. My daughter recently got a little lizard that we found, and so we're taking her here to Pratt's Pets food store so she can find some things that she needs.
Puppy. There's a little bird up here, Mama.
I know, I see that.
One down.
Here you go. Come on. Oh, he's standing up, and that's the sheep. Look, there's a...
This is a local shop that is close to us. It is really cute. It has a lot of little chickens and ducks and a lot of like pet food and different things like that. They also have a little pig that's in the back, but he wasn't there, so I'm guessing he got sold. There was a couple pigs, but the animals get sold pretty fairly quickly. But it's just a lot of fun. It's something that the kids enjoy doing. We prayerfully one day will have a lot of land and have our own animals, but just looking at the animals and petting them and enjoying our time together with a nice outing. Since it's such a beautiful day here in Arizona, the weather has been absolutely beautiful. We can just enjoy ourselves together.
Look, that's the fossil right there.
We lately been enjoying going to the park as well on Saturdays. We don't go every single weekend, but when we can, we really enjoy going because our kids really enjoy it, and so do we. My daughter recently finished one of her math books, and so we're wanting to celebrate her and getting her a gift.
This is a gift because you passed your math book. So here you go. Can you open that?
Whoa! Lizzie?
For Lizzie.
This is perfect. She's gonna love it. Yeah. It's so big. She's gonna love it.
She sure is.
Yeah.
Let's see what's
It's an
inside.
upgrade. A couple weeks ago, my kids were outside playing and they found a little lizard, and so they brought him in and we've been taking care of him. Or actually, it's a little girl. Her name's Lizzie and she's really cute. We've had her in this other little cage that you see off to the side, but this cage, it is a really nice cage and it was really affordable. We got it off of Amazon and it comes with everything that we are needing. And just getting her this and her having the responsibility of having a little pet and us having a little pet, because this is actually the only pet that we do have, it's just really cute and a lot of fun. So while the kids get this ready for little Lizzie, I am going to be here feeding Fred. He is my sourdough starter and going to be just getting that all nice and prepared. I had made waffles in the morning on Saturdays. I like to make waffles. I have a really good recipe that I have made, and pretty soon here I'm actually working on my website, and I am getting together like all my recipes, putting recipes together, and just different things that I'm gonna be sharing on my blog. But I want to share also this recipe for the waffles. It is a really delicious protein-packed waffle, very delicious, very easy to make, and I use my sourdough to make it. So sourdough starter is just water and flour. It's a lot simpler than what I had thought. I'm very new to sourdough. I've only been doing sourdough for less than a year. It's probably been like 8 months now probably, and it is a lot easier than I had thought it was going to be. So I am just feeding my starter by adding, you want to double the amount of what was already left in there. You see there was only about 2 inches of the sourdough starter, so I added just quite a bit of flour. I don't measure it, I just add on in and add some water, and you just want it to be a thick pancake type consistency. So I'm just stirring it, and you can just add more flour, more water, whatever you're needing in order to get the perfect consistency that you need to have like a thick pancake type starter. After the starter is ready, then you will just cover it, not airtight because you do want some of the air to get on in it, and put it in a nice warm place. I find on top of my stove is the best place to put it, and I usually set it all day, or I will let it go overnight so I can at least have it out for 10 to 12 hours. And the little cage is finished. It is so pretty. It looks very nice in our schoolroom. It's nice and clear and open and aesthetically pleasing. And I'm really happy that we got this. It's very cute. As for Lizzie, she is hiding, but she will be out soon for her little crickets. I'm going to be making here Albondigas soup. It is a meatball soup. It's a nice, delicious stew. And over the weekend, I like to at least make some type of meal to get me started in the beginning of the week and to just kind of have throughout the week. A lot of times it's just me making a spaghetti sauce so I can make a couple meals out of the spaghetti sauce, the pasta sauce. But for this week, I am going to be making the soup, so this way I could just have this ready and prepared, something easy and a realistic homemade meal that is not only delicious but also nutritious. And this is an excellent recipe. I'll also be sharing it on my blog, on my website, and I'll be having printable recipes for you guys here soon. I'm working really hard on my website and it should be up within the next, I'd say like 3 to 4 weeks. I will be letting you guys know as soon as everything is up and ready in a later video. But I'm getting some celery, some carrots, and you're gonna see some other vegetables as well. But I find that it is just so much easier to have something already made and prepared to start off the week, because the week can always be, especially Monday, can always be a little bit kind of dread it and drag your feet as you're trying to get the week kick started. But if you do something like this for yourself and for your family, then this is just a really great way to go, to just be able to do something delicious, easy, healthy, and nice and hearty. Now this recipe is really good for a larger family, or for a smaller family. You could have a lot of leftovers. It is great for freezing and putting away for another day. Now I'm not going to be making it today. Today is actually a Saturday. I am prepping all the veggies and making things a lot easier for myself, so on Sunday after church I can have everything ready to go, so I could just put it together and have it made. So I'm going to be taking 2 pounds of hamburger meat. I have the grass-fed hamburger meat from Costco. That's usually where I get all of my meat. That's pretty much where I get all of my meat as of lately, and I really like it. And so I am going to be putting 2 pounds in there, and I'm also going to be adding, I already had my seasonings ready from, I think I got my seasonings ready the day before or the morning before we went out on our little adventure. I have rice, cumin, garlic powder, onion powder, pepper, and salt. And you'll be seeing me putting that in here in just a minute. I also added in an egg, and I have some Ritz crackers here. I'm just trying to go through the Ritz crackers. I'm not really a fan anymore, even though they're delicious. They're just not they're not the most healthiest thing, but so you can use like this small little pack of Ritz crackers or half a pack of crackers and just crush those on in. So you'll add that, and then you'll see me adding in here in a bit the rice and also the seasonings. And then we're just going to be mixing it on in together. After everything is mixed on in, then we will make our little meatballs. Now the meatballs are going to be, they're about like an inch. They're going to be like the size of a golf ball, so about an inch big, and you just make them. They don't have to be exactly the perfect size, so it's nothing to be really worried about. You just want it to be pretty much all the same size, so this way they can at least cook at the same pace. I always try and do things ahead of time to make whatever I am needing to do on another day just a lot more easier for myself, as I always have a lot of things to do, and I just try and make things easier for myself. That's why I'm preparing the veggies and also the meat here as well, the meatballs. Now I forgot to have my onion already prepped, so you see me cutting off here a little piece of onion. I'm going to end up adding more onion. This is a yellow onion. So if you have about a medium sized onion, that's about the size that you will want. But since this is a fairly large onion, I'm going to be using just half of that onion, and that's pretty much all I'm going to be needing. I'm going to be adding in some onion, and also I didn't add in garlic in this time into my meatballs. I guess I just forgot, but I'll just be adding in the onion and then making the meatballs after this. And then I'll reserve some more onion so I can make for the soup, for the broth. I'll be adding onion and also garlic. We absolutely love garlic, and you'll be seeing me put tons of garlic in, as it's just really good. Food is also medicinal. You know, whatever you put into your body is really important. So I try and cook as much from scratch, homemade, as often as I possibly can. Well, I pretty much do every single day. And if I don't make food every single day, then we're eating leftovers. But we very rarely eat out, so pretty much everything we eat is from what I make. I try and make from scratch as much as possible, and that's something that I have been learning how to do as of recent, within the past year or so, and I'm just really grateful that I am learning how to do these things, learning how to just cook from scratch, whether if that's making, my bread, my butter, my jam, just different things. I am definitely not a pro at making like everything from scratch. As you'll be seeing here a little bit further in my video, when I make my broth, I'm not making, it's not a homemade broth, but I just do my best. And anything that you make homemade at home is going to be better than going through the drive-thru. Not only is it more healthy for you, but it also saves you a lot of money, which is really important. Another meal that I have made as of recently is this delicious pot pie. I actually made it with our leftover, I believe it was our pork shoulder, our pork roast that I had in the freezer. I've just pulled out and made a delicious pot pie with a little bit of hummus and chips. My kids are actually down for a nap right now, so me and my husband are gonna eat. So it is the next morning, and here is that delicious starter. As you can see, it has doubled in size, and now it is ready to go back into the fridge and be there until I am ready to use it. So I am here getting some pictures for my website and just getting that all ready. I have never made a website before. Well, actually I have, but it was like a Squarespace website. It wasn't one like all from scratch, so I'm just getting that all done. And here's JJ. He absolutely loves holding on to his sister's hands on our way to church.
You ready for church?
So another thing, if I would have thought about it the day prior on Saturday, I would have cut up the potatoes. I like to just cut them down the middle, the long ways, and then slice them on down into thin slices. You can cut your potatoes however you'd like. You can use whatever kind of potatoes that you have. It really doesn't matter. So in my pots, I am adding, well, I had already added a little bit of avocado oil, just about like a teaspoon in there or so, and just kind of mixing it around. Now, when I make my Albondigas soup, I always make one for me and my family, my husband and my children, and also one for my parents and my brother. And since I don't have a really big pot, one of these days I want to get one, I just make 2 different ones because there's not enough room in just one pot. After sauteing my onions, I saute now my veggies, my celery, and my carrots, and just saute it just for a little bit. I am getting ready my broth. I am using my electric kettle. I love this electric kettle. I do wish that I would have got the smaller one, but that's okay. This one comes in handy for a lot of different things as well. And I am getting 3 cups of hot boiling water and 3 tablespoons of this broth seasoning. This is a really good broth seasoning. I like it. It is really good broth seasoning. It tastes very flavorful. This one is the chicken. There also is the beef one. I know I'm making beef and using chicken broth, but that's just the flavor profile that I like. I really like the chicken broth flavor. I don't really like it as much, so that's why I use this one. Then I pull out some garlic out of the freezer and I'm adding in some garlic. It doesn't probably look like a whole lot to you, but since it is frozen, it is really stuck together, and it is quite a bit of garlic that I put in there. It's probably a total of probably like 5 cloves within each of the pots, so it's quite a bit. Once that all sautés there for a little bit, after I put in the garlic, I just probably saute it for another 30 to 45 seconds, and then I add in the broth. After I add in the broth, then I'm just going to be adding in some of my purified water and just filling it on up so I can make more broth. So another thing that I like to do to reset for the week is to get some bread baggies ready, some Ziploc bags with all of my dry ingredients for my bread. And this is a recipe that I have and also will be sharing here in the future for either you can use it for biscuits or also for a loaf of bread. So I like to get that all nice and ready. I usually have like 2 baggies, 2-gallon Ziploc baggies ready at all times, and that is already ready to go. Also, you're going to be seeing me make also some biscuits. I should say dinner rolls, I'm sorry. I'm going to be making the dinner rolls here, and those will be ready for the evening so we could have it with our soup. We actually don't end up eating it this night. I end up putting it away and giving my mom her portion. It's going to go absolutely perfect with the soup, and you will see how delicious they are here at the end. This recipe is super easy to make. In the beginning, I thought that making bread would be a very intimidating, hard thing to do, and it really wasn't. If you find a really good recipe like I have found and now have made, I just find it so easy, and it's a part of my routine, and it just comes really natural now. It doesn't even take any brain space. Once you learn how to do something, it doesn't take any more of that mental space and just becomes a lot more easier to do. So I'm going to be adding in here the diced tomatoes, 1 in each of the pots, and also now after the water has came to a nice boil, I turn it down so it could just be a simmer. I'm going to be adding in the meatballs. Now the meatballs, I add them in around in a circle. I don't want to have them all on top of each other, so I like to space them out. I just go in a wider circle, then a smaller circle around to add in the meatballs. Now for 2 pounds of the hamburger meat, I believe it came out to 46 meatballs. So you have quite a bit of meat, and it's just delicious, healthy, hearty, and just is really good to have for during the week, to have for leftovers, to have for a big family meal. This recipe makes about 14 servings, so it's quite a bit, and it's just really delicious. You can have it in the freezer and just have it for a later time. Whatever you choose to do with it, trust me, this recipe is so delicious. You have to make it. And the really neat thing about it is use whatever veggies that you choose. This is not a recipe that has to be made to the T. Make whatever with what you have, whatever vegetables you have, and whatever you put in it is absolutely delicious. A lot of times I like to add in cabbage into it, and I just get creative with it. I definitely recommend being as creative as you possibly can with this recipe. It is so good. So since there is beef in here, I do need to skim off the top, as there is the fat that goes up to the top. You will want to be skimming it off as you go along, and that's really important. Now that I'm putting in the potatoes, the meat and everything has been simmering for, it's been about close to 40 minutes. And then I put in the potatoes. So while that continues to simmer on the stove, I am now doing some laundry. I find that doing laundry during the weekend is really important. Even though I do it all throughout the week, I like to make sure that I do try and get a head start as much as possible for my week and just have that already done. I really like the Charlie soap. It is a really natural, nice alternative. And as you saw, I put a little bit of Dawn soap, just a tiny bit, as if you were like putting some ketchup on a hot dog, just a little glaze on there. It really lightens and brightens your whites and your colors. Like, it just does a really good job. I had saw that tip probably on a YouTube Shorts, and it really does work, and I've been doing it ever since. For a really easy way of putting my clothes away, I take it off of the racks and just pile them in piles as for each person, and it makes it a lot easier for when I put them away, that I kind of have little stacks for each person. So I'm coming back and I'm skimming some more of the fat on off and going to add some noodles. These organic noodles are so delicious. I have gotten them from Costco, and they're authentic Italian noodles. And with Italian noodles, they make you feel like not all heavy and bloated like regular noodles do. They're just really good. So if you're a Costco shopper, check them out. They're really good. So in the freezer, I pulled out some squash and some zucchini and just put a couple handfuls of each of them in each of the pots. And zucchini and squash is just so good. I absolutely love it. And then I'll be adding in some salt. I do 2 teaspoons in each of them, and then I add in a little bit later, like a half a teaspoon extra additional to the 2 teaspoons of the salt. Now after pulling the dinner rolls out, I just put butter on them, and they are so good. You have to make them. They're just absolutely delicious. Now the soup is ready. It is done. It is so good, and I am just putting it here in different containers so I could have them ready to store, and the green ones I'll be sharing with my mom and dad so they could take that on home. Well, I appreciate you guys taking the time to watch this video. I hope it was helpful, motivational, and inspirational. I really appreciate you, and I thank God for you. I pray you and your family have a wonderful week, and happy Valentine's Day. God bless.